I'm here to defer it and cede my time to Nanette and Joel Hausman, who will share their personal story on Senate Bill 954, an act requiring the reporting of accidental deaths on college campuses. So at the indulgence of the chairs and the committee, I defer to Joel and Nanette Hausman. Please.
Thank you, Tony, very much. Thank you for co-sponsoring this bill with Senator Haskell. The two of you have been phenomenal since the first day that you heard our story, giving us compassion and energizing us to make change. We're not lobbyists, we're not activists, we're not necessarily even politically savvy. I just turned 63 years old and I now understand what a constituent is. I've never been a constituent before. But we are two devastated parents, and we are here to try to make some change to help everyone.
Good morning, all. Our story. 2.5 years ago, our family of 5 traveled to drop our youngest son, Corey, off to college for what was supposed to be, as some people say, the best 4 years of one's life. The drop-off went well. He took to it like a fish to water. Probably couldn't wait for his parents to leave, and we did. After we left, I immediately was so looking forward to going back for Parents' Weekend. Made our reservation, wanted to hear the stories of this new, exciting chapter. Unfortunately, Parents' Weekend never came for us. We did go back to school, however, 15 days after that drop-off, to pick up an urn filled with his ashes. You see, Corey passed away as a result of a preventable accident. Little did we know that accidents are the leading cause of student deaths at college. This was the 3rd week of the first semester. When we got there, we were told Corey's death, was actually the 3rd death of the semester. Think about that for a second. 3 weeks into a semester, 3 young adults died, 3 devastating, tragic stories, 3 devastated families. Our children are so precious.
I want you to think about us when you're listening to the testimony of 11 people that have stepped forward to testify on our behalf. They aren't just people that feel sad for us. They're people that are experts in different subject matters. I have parents, some whose children are still alive. I have parents whose sons have died while they're away at college that have started college safety advocate groups. I have some of Corey's friends that have dug in to help us understand how this could have happened and make change. I love hearing about how we're worrying about feeding children. I think that's great in every aspect of supporting children at college. But I think one of the primary things needs to do is to make sure that they are safe and they stay alive. What this bill is asking for is a new line item on a safety report card, one that's already generated by the universities to talk about other types of safety issues, including fire and crime. The spearhead to this initiative that I've started, which is college911.net, really came together when I tried to find out how many total students died on Corey's campus in the year that he would have been a freshman. I learned when I went to the Department of Higher Education from the state where he went, that his death is treated to reduce the cohort of the college's head count. So the graduation and retention statistics are not damaged because of a death, a withdrawal, or a school transfer. There's no finite number of how many kids died. I believe that the universities, there's a lot of people that would benefit from this information. I believe changes were attempted to be made to the bad area where Corey fell, but it didn't make the budget cut. So I believe that just reporting this one new number on a spreadsheet for the public, for the school, for everybody else to see, will help us drive the investment in safety that we need. The rest of my time, if possible, I'm going to share with you what we've lost. This is a video that we found on Corey's phone after he passed away. Corey grew up playing the cello in the Westport school system. And when he got to be a junior in high school, he picked up the guitar, something his dad had always wanted him to do. But he, you never listen to your parents, forget it. So anyway, I want to share this with you because this is who Corey was. This is him in his dorm room by himself, recording himself, playing the guitar. Again, I believe it was going to be a gift to his father. I tried to get this uploaded through Jean, but she said that wasn't possible. So just bear with me. Here we go. Hold on. I gotta get the volume. Hold on. Why isn't the volume? Hold on. Sorry, people. I'd like to close with just saying the numbers of the speakers, the order that have come forward in our behalf, if you want to jot these down. Again, thank you, Tony and Will, for getting us this great spot in today's hearing. Number 48, number 52, number 74, number 80, number 82, 83, 88, 94, 95, 104, and 114. These are all people that have come to support moving this bill forward, and think of us and please listen to them and what they have to say.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Hausman, for sharing that story. I'm so
If I may, I think it's important to note that the courage in which the Hausmans have raised this issue is very important. It's not just the bill in itself, but I think it's an important point of raising awareness for us as parents and for young adults that are heading off into college to understand that the risk and the challenge that goes with that, rites of passage. So, and what really struck me with the Hausmans is the fact that I still remember vividly the day that we dropped off our children off at college, and it is intended to be some of the most exciting time of their lives, as Joel just talked about earlier. And you have a bond of trust with the university that they have the responsibility and will take the care to treat your child as their own. And that bond of trust needs to be validated and reaffirmed. And to have these kind of tragedies occur because there wasn't a level of communications, I think two things comes from this: the data that will allow universities to better educate, but I think the other is to empower parents to know that they have a voice, that they need to be involved and have the universities in their role as caretakers of their children to be accountable and to be responsive. So I wanted to add that, because what struck me the most about this whole issue was the fact that anybody who's a parent who sends their kids off to camp or school or higher education, there is that emotion of excitement for them, but there's also an uncertainty. And when those uncertainties are realized in a horrible tragedy, and you feel as though you are not given a chance to do your best on your child's behalf, I think that is a pain that no one should ever have to endure. And I appreciate you asking the question. And again, my condolences on your brother as well. You've been an incredible caretaker and of his unique, special intellectual needs, and you've been a champion on that. So thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Representative, and thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much for your patience. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ellie and have lived in Westport, Connecticut for going on 6 years. Thank you for hearing me out today to discuss the important step that our Higher Education Committee is considering to improve campus safety by discussing the reforms called for in SB 954. Publicly reporting college student deaths is important because college student safety needs to be expanded in order to save as many lives as possible. Going far away from home for college should be a wonderful, rewarding experience. Regardless of which mascot you sport, you worked hard to earn it. Remember the unbridled joy that ran through your whole body when you got your dream school acceptance letter? With all the excitement and newness and dorm decor, it can be easy to forget that the unfathomable can and does occur on college campuses. Colleges and universities, on the other hand, are veterans to college life. They see it every day. They live it. So if colleges and universities know that accidents are the leading cause of student death, by far, why aren't they required to report all deaths? And thinking beyond the specifics of what the bill calls for, how reporting all serious incidents, like those needing 911 medical care, even if the student survives. SB 954 requires schools to take accountability, not with the intent to shame, for accidents aren't planned and happen everywhere. I choose the intent from a preventive lens. In addition, the bill is essentially for college students and families of students, especially those traveling far away from home. Educational institutions should make their facts and records accessible on their websites for students to best prepare themselves for a potentially dangerous situation. Schools must honor their students and their health at least as much as they prioritize the safe reputation. Schools should act in a way where students feel free yet held, capable yet protected. This is what Bill SB 954 demands for. And I know my beloved Corey Bernard Hausman would feel the exact same way. His genuine love for life and for others was contagious. The type of guy that made everyone feel included, especially me, the new kid who had moved into the same neighborhood as him. We were attached at the hip, the Romeo and Juliet of Saugatuck Island, without all that foolish family feuding. Corey was and is my best friend. We were elated to go to Boulder together. 300 days of sunshine, a buffalo pool, and Corey. Life is good. I remember falling to the floor when I received a call from my high school friend back in Connecticut telling me that Corey had died. I was in the same place as him, yet heard nothing. It's inarguable that Corey and his loved ones deserve far more insight, communication, and help during this unfathomable time. Universities must report all serious accidents to ensure they and we learn from these incidents and respect our future generations as they prepare to attend whichever school they go to and making it as safe as possible. Don't wait for a painful, preventable personal accident for safety changes to transpire. I beg of you, let's hold educational institutions accountable for excluding crucial truths from their glossy brochures and flashy websites. Bill SB 954 is a gift and a tool similar to toothpaste. We must use it for results. Without this toothpaste-like tool, we are left with deep holes, cavities. Let's take care of ourselves and those we love. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ELIANA.
Thanks for having me. My name is Lucas Hausman of Westport, Connecticut. I grew up in the Westport school system and have lived here most of my life. I think it's such an important step that our higher education committee is taking today to improve campus safety by considering the reforms called for in SB 954. Publicly reporting accidental college student deaths is important because college safety needs to be expanded in order to save student lives. My contribution to support this bill is to share one aspect of my family's tragic story, which I believe to be blaringly relevant. I lost my little brother, Corey, 2.5 years ago, due to what we've come to learn was a preventable pedestrian accident that happened while he was at college, beginning his freshman year. And I know you probably heard from my parents already earlier. But while this accident occurred in Colorado, what we've learned, I believe, can and possibly does easily happen at other colleges. I was a recent college grad myself, and I'm going to read a letter sent to us from the commander of Corey's College Police Department, dated September 17th, 2018, 6 days after Corey's accident. At the time, the commander could not have been more committed to improving the pathway. His letter was in response to my mom's offer to help pay to make the area safer to prevent the possibility of another accident. The subject line of the email we received was "Moving Forward." Quote, "Today I met with staff from facilities management. In reviewing the accident and discussing the problems with the sidewalk, I wanted to let you know what we are looking at moving forwards. First, everyone sees the problem with the congestion of pedestrians, bicycles, and skateboards on this sidewalk. With additional student housing being built on Frontage Road on the east side of 28th, the problems have only increased. The first step will be some additional signage. I agree that this will only impact a small percentage of students, but there is a need to do this. Our efforts on the physical aspect of the sidewalk will be twofold. First is to examine the possibility of expanding the sidewalk. Next is to look at slope. By adding some level spots and making the sidewalk ADA compliant for slope, this might help decrease speed. We will be looking at other options to improve the traffic flow on the sidewalk as well. Everyone I've spoken to is aware of the risk, and I feel are committed to improving the safety for our students and staff. I'll advise you of any changes we implement. If you have any questions, please let me know. End quote. So after receiving this letter, and I remember like it was yesterday reading it, we felt a little bit of comfort in believing that Corey's fatal accident was at least being taken seriously by his college, and that physical improvements were identified and provided to us in writing and would hopefully likely occur. Well, they haven't. We followed up with the dean of students a full year later, knowing that things don't happen overnight, especially at a large public college. What we learned was that the recommended structural changes to improve safety were considered, but just did not make the budget cut. The estimated cost of $100,000 was just too much for the large state university to bear. And there had been zero correspondence from the university on this or any other matter to make our family aware of this decision. For comparison, had Corey been able to attend his college for 4 years as planned, my parents would have used almost $250,000 of their life savings to pay for his out-of-state tuition, room, and board. And it just totally feels like Corey's accident and death were swept under the rug. And I think even hearing that, it's clear to me. And I believe passing this bill to require accidental deaths to be tracked and publicly reported by colleges will positively impact investment in college campus security because it'll hold them accountable. And we don't know.
Excuse me, Lucas?
Yes.
Excuse me, you've passed the 3 minutes. Could you summarize, please? Thank you.
Pretty much done. Adding to this required reporting, serious accidents like those requiring a 911 call would further prioritize the investment in safety. We believe this commander wanted to do the right thing, but the right thing was just too expensive. Let's make sure our colleges in Connecticut have what they need to make and keep our colleges as safe as they can be and should be. Thank you for your time.
My name is Mary Ellen Jacobs, and I'm here to support State Bill 954. First, I want to thank Nanette, Joel, and Lucas Hausman for their courage in stepping forward and offering their testimony here today. The Connecticut Higher Education Committee is taking such a vital step today to improve campus safety by considering these reforms called for in SB 954. Public transparency and reporting accidental college deaths is an important first step toward looking at how college safety needs to be expanded to save lives. My contribution to support this bill and expand college safety comes from a deeply personal, tragic experience in my own family. 6 years ago, I started a nonprofit organization called Rail Against the Danger after my son Clark fell sound asleep from a lofted bed 7 feet off the floor at college and suffered a traumatic brain injury and a stroke. He was 20 years old and nearly lost his life to a very preventable accident. Excuse me. Had he not been in college at a major metropolitan area near Trauma One medical care, I don't believe he would have survived. Had Clark not survived, under current public safety reporting systems, a tragic event like this would have not been tallied or accounted for. When we contacted the university right after this traumatic accident, the initial reaction from the dean of students at our university was to protect the university because at the time, safety rails were available, although my son was not offered that option of having a rail in his residence. In the ensuing 10 weeks, as my son lay in a vegetative state in a neuro rehab unit, I began my own investigation looking for data on falls on other campuses. After doing multiple exhaustive searches on the internet about safety standards, it became clear that student accidents and deaths are not reported to any sort of state or national database that can be accessed. The only reliable data I was able to procure was a study of ER visits due to bed falls, as the injuries were severe enough to require a trip to the emergency room. But how could that be when virtually everyone I spoke with knew someone either directly or indirectly who had experienced a fall from a bunk or loft bed in the college setting? I met with the state university in my home state of Georgia in the months that followed and was surprised to learn that there was no consistent system-wide reporting of accidents or deaths on campus. Crime data, fire, suicide, sexual assault are all required to be reported due to the Clery Act, which became law in 1990. While my son's accident occurred in Georgia, I have worked extensively with many other states and have evidence that these kind of accidents, sometimes fatal, can and do happen all over the nation. I have come to the conclusion there is currently no way to find data about campus accidents and some deaths, as it does not fall within the confines of Clery. While researching this college age group, 18 to 25, which is known to exhibit risky behavior, I met a doctor of neuroscience who published research about the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is not fully developed until around the age of 25. When our kids turn 18 and go off to college, there's an assumption that they somehow evolve into adults overnight. And as far as decision-making and risk-taking is concerned, that simply is not the case. In other words, accidents are expected in this age group. We just need to harness that data that is already there to be able to take a hard look at campus safety and where we can improve. Even after 6 years of safety advocacy, it seems that everywhere I turn, I face an uphill battle because preventable, sometimes even fatal accidents, like my son's, are not reported and certainly not accounted for in any type of university safety reporting. Very simply, if we want to make our campuses safer, we need transparency in gathering and reporting data as the precursor to prevention. Thank you all for your time today. I appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jacobs, for your testimony, and I'm so
Thank you so much. I'm Lauren LaFrisco of Westport, Connecticut, and I fully support the reforms called for in SB 954, as publicly reporting accidental college student deaths is an important first step toward how we can improve college safety in order to save college lives. I applaud each of you as our leaders for taking this time today and a long day for this review and many reviews as one step to improve campus safety. My contribution to support this bill comes from the perspective of a parent seeking to understand college safety as one of the more important aspects in selecting a school. I'm a mother of a 20-year-old son attending technical college and an 18-year-old daughter who is a senior at Staples High School. I have spent the last few years learning, at times the hard way, that once a child turns 18 and is living away from home, things are different. I have had to explain the change to my children as well as educate myself on what information they need to learn and what is needed as adults. My daughter recently asked me a list of questions about how she should prepare herself to be safe once she is living on college campus. I was not clear on where she could get the information other than to check the college website or possibly the police departments covering that campus to see what they shared about campus safety, accidents, and crime information. These young adults are asked to make a college selection with little to no experience about campus environments other than what is presented on the college website. If they're lucky, they may get to visit a very small portion of the campus, maybe once before signing their letter committing to a school. Illness, accidents, and deaths of their peers or themselves are not common firsthand experiences for most young adults prior to moving on to a college campus. They and their families are literally blind to the realities. College accident and death data is not available to me or my child today. This data is a critical part of the teaching our young adults about the common ways and the environments on campus where they or others may experience serious injury or death. As a mother, if I had information about the types of facilities that are accessible for serious accident treatment, or if I knew about the most common types of accidents or student deaths on the campus, I would be better able to answer the questions I'm getting right now to help her make the best college choice. It is concerning to me that no group or college is being asked to collect and share this data. If I had information, I could clearly explain to my daughter or son how to improve their safety or where they will be medically cared for should they experience a tragic event on a college campus. This information is needed to help her choose a college and understand the type of campus that she will be living on. With
Excuse me, you've hit the 3 minutes.
Thank you. I do have a starting point, and by consistently collecting and analyzing the publicly reported accidental college student death data, we can evaluate who, how, where, and why college student accidental deaths occur. There are benefits to so many from the reforms in SB 954. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Hello. So, Linda Lewis Bruce. I am a 31-year resident of Westport, and I'm wearing two hats as I support SB 954. My first hat is that of a mother of an 18-year-old son, Cameron Bruce, who fell to his death from a dorm window his first day of classes at university. My second hat is that of a hospital chaplain. And at the time of our tragedy, it was the school chaplain who provided necessary resources to guide my husband, students, faculty, and me through the initial trauma. Now, in my own work as a chaplain, I provide counsel, witnessing the pain and suffering of others, and providing support so that those in need feel that they are not alone. When our son died, we learned of 3 others who had died at that university that calendar year. Having this information was a comfort, albeit a very, very sad one, yet a comfort nonetheless, as we knew we were not alone. There are other members, and there continue to be, sadly, other members of this tragic Dead Kids Club. That's what I kind of call it. And returning to my capacity as a chaplain at my hospital, we have a motto, safety starts with me. So I'm kind of offering an analogy. I have extensive online monthly mandatory continuing education. I'm well trained to spot and report safety issues. And the hospital is mandated to report deaths. Now, deaths happen in hospitals where people are supposed to get well. Medications have long lists of adverse side effects. In order for procedures to be performed, long forms are filled out acknowledging there may be complications. With all this reported information, people can and still choose to go to hospitals, to take medication, and to have procedures. Now, by requiring accidental death reporting, SB 954 will help consumers, families, parents, students have more information and data in making their choice for higher education. Deaths can and sadly do happen at university where people are supposed to learn, grow, and thrive. And safety information is as critical in education as it is in medicine. It is another data point. My children had a variety of criteria ranging from quirky to practical for choosing one college over another. Accidental death reporting is a necessary data point, not an odd or quirky criterion. And Connecticut has the opportunity to be the leader in providing families with improved information about this important college decision. I support SB 954 as a measure which will help students and parents make better informed choices. And I hope that you will vote favorably. Thank you very much.
Ms. Bruce,